of topics related to audience building. So the first one, I saw a tweet from Patio11 yesterday. I cannot endorse this hard enough, quoting a tweet from David Perel. Advice to every online creator: own your distribution. Build a simple personal website, then create an email list and ask people to subscribe. Email is by far the best place to build an audience. And it's interesting. I've definitely heard this advice before, and I've seen the results of email firsthand. It's one of those things that a lot of us feel like, email is sort of dead, but it's one of those things that when you look at the numbers, it isn't. It's just really powerful. The reach you can have by email. But it's funny because like both of these particular guys I discovered on Twitter. I've only ever seen their content on Twitter. And I think that, I've been engaging a lot more recently on Twitter and finding a lot of super interesting people and stuff. And it's like, it's funny because there is an increase in people doing like really cool email newsletters. I'm thinking of Future Commerce Insiders list that I just joined recently. I'm thinking of WebSmith has his publication, which is a members only publication and things like that. And so there's a lot of interesting content that's going direct to email. And maybe I'm just weird in that I don't like email. Like when I'm in email, I just want to get stuff done, get in, get out. I don't want to think really. I'm not in a mood to really kind of sitting funny here. Gotta get cozy. I'm not really in a mood to like discover things, you know what I mean? Like, again, just want to get in, get out, type of thing. So, but at the same time, it's like, if you're disagreeing with Patio11, you're probably wrong most of the time. I mean, the guy knows what he's talking about. So it's probably true. It's probably something it's funny too, because like I've been thinking about the fact that I haven't sent an email out for Commerce Hero in like months. I've got like 7,000 people on the list. Every time I send it out, we get business and things like that. But yeah, I just haven't done that. So I got to get on that. But I have a writer now who's great and has been helping out. So I think I'm going to get her to knock that out. So anyway, another on the topic of audience building was the Future Commerce Insiders post that just came out on Audiencefirst, Future Commerce by podcast Philip Jackson and Brian Lang. And you got to sign up for this to get it. So if you're not signed up, go check that out. But they talk about the how there's sort of a shift. I think that the tweet that caught my attention first was where Philip said, audience for product market fit, or audience first is the new product market fit, or something to that extent. But, in this post, they give a number of examples. They talk about Goop by Gwyneth Paltrow. They talk about the Yeezy brand. They talk about Joe Rogan. These are all cases where people built an audience and then monetized it after the fact, where you have an audience of people that are interested in whatever topics, whether that's health, whether that's shoes, fashion, and then you monetize kind of on the back end of that, which I think makes a lot of sense. I think makes a ton of sense. And as somebody that's built tech products before, I would definitely agree with this. Like, you want to find that audience, connect with that audience, and see what they're sort of interested in before you just go out into the wild and be like, I want to build this product and find the market for it. I think there's really something there, something powerful there to look at. So, all right, next up. Dramatic sip for emphasis there. No code sites. So this is super funny, because I was arguing with Philip actually not arguing, but he had posted a tweet about how the advancement of tools is encroaching on developers, and I was like, no, I completely disagree. Developers are super in demand. They will be for the next 50 years. And I said that on a previous video, and I still believe that, but I've started looking more at, like, there's an entire no code maker community out there. It's I didn't realize how strong it was. And so I still, obviously, developers are massively in demand. I mean, and training developers is a massive priority and all that kind of a thing. But it is pretty wild what's out there in the no code sort of movement or communities out there. There was a tweet yesterday by Ben Tossell that sort of went viral. He's the founder of MakerPad, which is like a community for basically for makers. I think for no code maker, yeah, for no code makers. Anyway, his tweet was, reply with what you want to build, and I'll suggest ways to do it without code. And then there's like a bajillion replies from people, everything from, Hacker News clone to how can I make a Tinder app for mentors and mentees, daily deals for comic books. There's just a bunch of really interesting specific cases, and then he gives very specific answers on how to build those with. There's a bunch of tools. There's Bubble, Boundless, Webflow, Airtable, Google Spreadsheets. There's just a ton of really neat tools that a lot of us are probably aware of, but maybe not aware of how powerful they are. So that was interesting. That was a really cool thread. And now I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, man, I wonder if I could build something no code. Like be a neat challenge. And then one of the specific no code. So I've been checking out some of these no code sites, and some of them look cool, but some of them look, a little DIY, like they don't look that polished. And I saw this one site on a different thread called Dwellito.com, which is browse the top modern modular homes. I don't know if it's going to look good in here. I keep trying to show pictures to the camera, but that's a bad idea. But what stuck out to me about this site is that this site looks really polished. And I don't know if they did a custom design. I'm assuming they didn't. If it's no code, I'm assuming they didn't do a custom design. But what's unique to me about this is this feels like a very polished site. Like it feels like pretty much like as polished as like an Airbnb type of thing. Which is really cool. I mean, it looks great. So I'd be surprised if this is completely no code, but that would be freaking awesome. But yeah, it's pretty wild, the stuff that can be done. I was looking into it and try to figure out if, for example, you can have a site with dynamic URLs. Like, for example, Karma's Hero has karmashero.io/username as dynamic URLs. And that can be done on one of the platforms. And so it's interesting, all the stuff that can be done out there. So, we'll see what develops there. All right. Next up, I worked on, so this is super cool. I noticed this on, Mubashar Iqbal's, profile, who actually, I'll back up. I discovered him because he's the founder of PodHunt, which is like product hunt for podcasts, which I think is super cool. And I was thinking recently, I think I said it on a recent stream, that like I wish there was better podcast discovery. There needs to be better podcast discovery, because like all of the top 100 charts and stuff like that are great. Like there's definitely great podcasts in those top podcasts, and there's some of those that I do like, but there's a gigantic long tail of interesting podcasts that like I don't know about unless I just randomly sort of stumble upon them. So having a way to discover those, I think, is interesting. And so that's exactly what PodHunt is. So yeah, I've been checking that out. It's pretty cool. It's a little light, like I don't know when it was launched, but it's a little bit light on, numbers. So like, for example, if you go there, it shows today there's been 8 episodes that have been, hunted or whatever. Yesterday there was 8 episodes. So not a ton. Like I'd imagine as this picks up, you're going to see hundreds of episodes every day, kind of a thing. But yeah, I've already started to see some good stuff in here that I'm starting to pick up. Some cool indie hackers podcast episode that I caught and stuff like that. So this is really cool. And then I was checking out, the founder's profile, which is again Mubashar's profile. And then I saw a cool link in his bio, which goes to iworkedon.com/ then his username, Mubashar Iqbal. And this is a really cool site. It's very simple. It basically, you list stuff that you've worked on, and then you've got a status for it. So 2019 filtered. There's a name of the project. There's a description, share curated content in minutes, and then there's a status, which, active. There could be other projects: status autopilot, status left, status zombie, status dead. So this is cool because it's funny. I've always, I talked about my failure resume in the past, and I wrote a Medium post of all the different, projects I'd worked on, but I've never had a good place to be like, here's all the stuff I've worked on, where you can list, not only the actual businesses that have succeeded, but the random side project that went nowhere, and just have them all itemized so that you can be like, whoa, I've worked on a lot of random stuff, and just have a place for them to all live kind of with a status. So I thought that was a great, I thought it was a really neat site. I'm going to go in there and fill out a profile up there very soon. All right, next up. Okay, so this is just a funny one. Office Dev Live headphones. This tweet got a lot of traction yesterday. There was a post from somebody that said, confession, I've never worked in an office before. What do I need to know? What do I need to buy? Do people bring lunch boxes? Is it weird to have photos of your dog up? Do I need headphones? And then I tweeted, there are only 2 immutable rules of Office Dev Life. Don't interrupt someone with headphones on. And if someone interrupts you with your headphones on, give them a strong glare so they know they violated number 1. So basically, it's all about headphones when you're a developer in an office. Okay, next up, Twitter Lite PWA. So I've been ranting for several days in a row now about PWAs and about how I feel like there needs to be a killer app for PWA, like something that people actually use. I assumed that most people didn't, and my buddy Philip, seems like everything in this episode is about Philip, but he actually said he does use Twitter Lite PWA, which surprised me because I didn't realize anybody use Twitter Lite over native. I assume native is just better. So I sort of stand corrected there. I'm going to try to start using Twitter Lite and see how it goes. I feel like Twitter native is just smoother, faster, videos work better, images work better, everything just works better, manages state better. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong about that. So quick correction there. All right, I think that's about it. Yes. All right. Sorry for stalling. I had some optional items on the list, which I think I'm going to skip. Still working out the kinks with this live stream stuff. Hashtag your V1 is going to suck. But all right, let me go ahead and close the stream.